Okay, class, we're going to try and draw the visual representation of the inverse of this graph again. So we will go here to -4, -3, and then we will have to extend this line to go to -3, -2. Then we will go to 0, -1, and then also to 5, 0. This is basically how the graph will look. Okay, now we could scroll down. And for some reason the graph came down, but you got a visual look at it. Well, let's go down here to problem 15. It says simplify. Write your results as a single logarithm with a coefficient of 1. Now, what we would do is this here. Since this has log of the same base and it is divided by each other, we will write log, and then this bottom value will become the base, which would be 45. And then this W would be the regular number here. And this is our final answer. Now we come here. We want to combine this as one log. So the first thing we need to do is change this so that this 3 will become the exponent. These lead coefficients of 3 will become the exponents. So we add natural log 4x cubed taken to the third power plus the natural log 2x to the fifth to the third power. Now, before we do anything with the natural logs, we have to take these parentheses to this exponent, to their respective exponents. So this will give us natural log of 64 x to the 9th plus the natural log of 8 x to the 15th. Now, whenever we add, whether we're dealing with logs or natural logs, if they have the same base, we can combine this as multiplication. So it'll be natural log of 64 x to the 9th times 8x to the 15th. Now we can multiply this. 64 times 8 will give us 512. X to the 9th times x to the 15th will give us x to the 24, because remember, you add the exponents. So this is our final answer. Natural log of 512 x to the 24th power. Now we move here to C. Now we do basically the same thing with C as we did with B. So we would do these exponents first. So it would be the log of base B. Then this would be x squared, and then to the 4th power of the parentheses, minus log base B, y in parentheses, and that would be taken to the 2nd power, minus log base B, and then parenthesis x to the 4th power. So we know that lead coefficient becomes the exponent. Okay, so now what we want to do, we want to take all of these values to their respective exponents. So this would be log base B of x to the 8th minus log base B of y squared, and then minus log base B of x to the 4th power. Now, we will combine these using our log rules. Since all of these have the same base and it's subtraction, it's all subtraction, this first value will become our numerator. So we will have log base B, we will add x to the 8th in our numerator, and both of these that are subtracted later on, both of these will become your denominator. So this would be y to the 2nd times x to the 4th. Now, what we need to do here is we need to simplify this. X to the 8th and x to the 4th. If we simplify it, that'll give us 8 minus 4. So then 8 minus 4, we know that that will give us x to the 4. So our new numerator, this would be log base b. Our new numerator would be x to the 4, and our denominator would be y squared. And this is the final answer. Now, I had to go back and erase a couple things here. I wasn't trying to be distracting, but as you all saw with the 4 and the y, for some reason it was drawing lines through it, so I had to correct that. But this is the final answer. Now, we scroll down here to problem 16. Now we have the prices of an adult one-way ticket to Walt Disney World are shown in the table below for various years. Let P equals F of T equals 2.0685 T plus 24.493 be the price of an adult one-day ticket to Disney World at T years since 1990. Now, all of this is supposed to be since 1990, so we know we have to do another column here to reflect years since 1990. Okay, so this will be 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, and 14. And we know, so then now we have this reflection. Now we look here at A. It says find an equation for the inverse of f by hand. So first thing we need to do is we see we have this formula here. So we need to write down the formula. So what I'm going to do is, because I have lack of paper, lack of space here, I'm going to write the formula here so we can discuss it. So it'd be f of t is equal to 2.0685 t plus 24.493. Okay, now what we need to do is switch the t and the f of t, and we would do that down here. So we would have t is equal to 2.0685 f inverse of t plus 24.493. Now we need to get f inverse of t by itself. So the first thing we would do is subtract 24.493 on both sides. So now we will have t minus 24.493, and that's equal to 2.0685 f to the inverse of t. Now, we will have to divide each side by 2.0685. Now, since we have two terms over here, we're going to divide each individual term by this 2.0685. Now, we could take our calculator here. First, let me scroll down. Okay, we could take our calculator here and do a little division. So, this is what we would do. This t is assumed to have a 1 in front of it, so we would take 1 divided by 2.0685, set that equal to. Now, if you notice here, we did divide by 4 digits behind the decimal. So why don't we just do 4 digits behind the decimal, since we were not asked how many digits to go. So we will have 0.4834 So we have 0.4834, and that's t. Still having a little problem with these 4s. I don't know why the line comes on the top of them. So that would take care of this first part. Now we go to the second part. Now we will have 24.493 divided by, we will have 2.0685, And that will give us 11.8409, but we know it's subtraction. So it'll be minus 11.8409. So now, and this will equal to F inverse of T. Now we could leave it like this, or we could put the F inverse of T in front of this equation, but it still would give us the same answer. So we're done with that. Now we go down here. It says find F of 10. So what we would do is this here. We have to go back to the original equation. Hopefully we have enough room, which is here. So we will have F of 10, and we know we would substitute this 10 in wherever T appears, is equal to 2.0685 times 10 plus 24.493. Now we can multiply this out in our calculator. So we could take 2.0685 multiplied by 10 plus 24.493, and that would give us 45.178. Now we're asked here, what does it mean in this situation? So we know F of 10 represents 10 years since 1990. So we know that is the year 2000. So we will put in the year 2000. There will be 45.178. Now, the one thing that we didn't do here, we need to change this because we're dealing with money. So this should actually be 45.18 because this is actually $45.18, and we need to change that in both of these places here since we're dealing with money. So in the year 2000, there will be $45.18 per ticket at Disney World. And that is the final answer. Now, it says find the inverse of F of 70. What does it mean in terms of this situation? Now, we could take this inverse formula here and substitute in 70 for T. So we have F inverse of 70, and that equals to 0.4834 times 70 minus 11.8409. So now we can go to our calculator and put in this value. We have 0.4834 times 70 minus 11.8409. And that will give us 21.9971. So the inverse of 70 is 21.9971. Now, it says, what does it mean in this situation? Now, we know this is really our Y value, which is the ticket cost. So tickets will cost $70 in the year 2011. So that's what this means here, because this 21.9971 is the year since 1990. So that would be 2011, even though it is the tail end of 2011. But tickets will cost $70 in that year. So now we move on to the next page. which would be for problem 17.